Shall we jump to what the old man says? All right. So this is not about COVID, I don't think. But he's starting to I think he's starting to smoke his own supply. Agenda47, which is his little, his cute little phrase for it. President Trump announces America First trade platform that takes sledgehammer to globalism. Okay, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but COVID itself took a, quote, sledgehammer to globalism. That global markets are being reshuffled like fucking crazy. And America in particular is reshoring factories like a motherfucker. And between Canada and Mexico are pretty much going to be isolated as in regards to supply chains of useful anything. We'll buy trinkety shit from all over the world, but basically our relationship from a trade point of view with China is dead. Anybody who hasn't moved out is on their way, and nobody is thinking, I started this thing, I need a cheap factory to build my shit in. How about China? Nobody. Meanwhile, also code word for Jews. But this is, I don't know how long this is, but this is one of his, I'm going to take a sledgehammer to globalism, a problem that will largely be wrapped up and in form, not Peter Gabriel, what? Who's your what? Hold on, are people saying Peter Gabriel is gone? Wait a minute. That's not a good thing. We will check on that in a moment. Okay, pro-America trade to end our reliance on China.
Joe Biden claims to support American manufacturing.
Joe Biden complains of I don't know why his volume is down. I'll turn it up. Claims to support American manufacturing because the world is round. Because we're opening 9 chip factories.
But in reality, he's pushing the same pro-China globalist agenda
that has always been there all during my presidency that I did nothing about as I worked on a 3-phase trade deal that never went fucking anywhere.
That ripped the industrial heart out of our country.
No, he didn't. Also, why are you showing your bottom teeth like that? It's concerning.
It ripped us apart.
You're tearing me apart.
Biden and the globalists support raising taxes on American production. They support more crippling...
Raising taxes on American production. How so?
Regulations killing American jobs.
Oh, you mean the poisonous ones that leave people fingerless at work?
They support skyrocketing domestic energy costs.
Do they? They just like the idea? They're just like, how do we make energy costs skyrocket? I mean, we obviously want to switch to renewables, but in the interim, is there a way we can make it as painful as possible? Write something up.
And they support massive anti-American multinational agreements that send our wealth and factories overseas.
Oh, you mean like your China deal? I'm kidding. That didn't do that because it was a failed China deal. The goal was to do that.
Very simply, the Biden agenda taxes America to build up China. China is the big beneficiary. We cannot let that happen.
Again, does anybody know what the fuck he is talking about? I swear to God, like it's one thing to do he's doing his same Mexican talking points from 2016, 2015. But times have changed. And again, when he does it now, he's built his fucking wall, which he says was done and they were going to do even more of it. So if the border is worse, obviously his wall is partly to blame. What the living... All right. And again, maybe people are new to this. I don't know. This is... Let me try and get a news. Whoops. let's see this. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just. Yeah, this is. All right, hold on, let me see. Okay. I know I won't be able to show all of this. This is kind of a good example. So, if anybody recalls what happened to Japan in the late '80s, early '90s, they had a crash that they have still never recovered from. Like their economy was chugging right along, and then it hit a floor, and it even in building back, like our 2008, 2009, we definitely went down bad, and it took us a while to get back. But we're pretty, like even 6 years later, we were pretty close financially to where we were before it, as if it had never happened, right? Japan, however, when theirs was hit, when they had their crash, it fucked them up forever. Like they're still having problems. And it was partly because of their demographic and their racially homogenous country. And you can't be a true citizen if you're not genetically Japanese. And that's always going to be a problem for countries like that. That if you start running out of productive workers and young people and you can't replenish them with other folks, but they've got to be your kind, and you're that small a country, historically speaking, that's going to be a problem. And that contributed to why that crash never really recovered. China's economy is looking at a new wave of Japanification. New research suggests that Beijing's property market is as bubbly as Tokyo's 2 decades ago. That's what they're talking about. Let's see. The next few months put Japan in line for a series of anniversaries it would probably prefer to forget, but these are dates which the leadership in China may be wise to mark. The detonation of time bombs with counters set ticking by a property bubble. For these are, some would agree, distinctly echoey times. New research suggests that if it is not careful, China may be on track for a new wave of Japanification. Back in 2003, Japan could no longer fool itself that all was well. The 90s had pitched the country off a trajectory on which it had once seemed capable of overtaking the U.S. Remember, as I was talking about, its subsequent mishandling of the bad loan mountain built during the 1980s vainglory days put paid to the notion that the country could easily recover. Vast banking mergers encouraged by Tokyo over the previous 3 years were not enough to disguise a collection of interlocking and unresolved crises. In March 2003, Sumitomo Mitsui Financial Group conducted a panicky reverse merger with a subsidiary amid huge losses. In April, the first signs began to emerge that one of the country's largest lenders, Resona, was failing. By May, taxpayers had rescued it with a $17 billion nationalization program. Later that year, and with the emergency klaxon sounding, a once top-tier regional leader, Ashikaga, went bankrupt. All of these events were deferred explosions, which may have done far less damage had they gone off earlier. The problem, as a team of Citigroup analysts declared this week, is that China today looks strikingly similar to Japan in its post-property bubble era. The country's respective demographic profiles, with China's population now shrinking, as Japan's did years earlier, provide a reminder that after 1990, Japan's housing price index fell as the 35 to 54-year-old cohort decreased. The report focuses its warnings on the potential risks for Chinese banking system. That's on top of countries leaving. And I like, we looked at this the other day, but it is a prime example of what's going on over there. China no longer viable as world's factory, says Kyocera. They are not the first to say it. They are not alone in saying it, but it is a big deal that a Japanese component maker of computer parts, especially high-level computer parts, is saying it doesn't make any sense to put your factory there ever again. China is doing awesome. I've talked to Xi. He's top of his game. Biden is just trying to treat him like a blah, blah, blah.
And just a couple of years ago, it wasn't happening. China paid to the United States hundreds of billions of dollars, and no other president got 10 cents.
Also, does anybody know what the fuck he's talking about? Obama did steel tariffs. Bush did tariffs against China at one point. Of course they've gotten millions, if not billions of dollars before for playing. Like, this is just, he says this all the time, and I guess nobody around him goes, well, that's obviously materially not true. You can't say that. So nobody says that to him. Nobody fucking says that to him. It's very weird.
Legitimately, 10 cents.
No, not legitimately, not literally, not at all. Nobody knows what the fuck he's talking about.
From China. My agenda will tax China to build up America.
will tax China to build up America. Tax them at what? Because if you move the factories back over here and you reshore and you have manufacturing here, what are you going to tax from there? Didn't he just tell us that the idea is like, we're going to stop all these factories moved overseas to China, and now we're going to bring them back, and Biden wants them to go over there to China, and we're going to bring them here, and we're going to tax what? What the fuck are they going to make by the time you're there?
The heart of my vision is a sweeping pro-American overhaul of our tax and trade policy to move from the Biden system.
He's got that weird squeaky right eye thing again.
That punishes domestic producers and rewards outsourcers.
And what program would that be? Is there an executive order you can point to? Is it his America First policy that he actually stands by, to the point where Republicans are saying, you can't do America First on infrastructure. We don't even make that amount of shit. It's like, yeah, but we're going to use up all of our supplies before we start buying them from someplace else. That's what America First means. It doesn't mean America only. You fucking morons.
To a system that rewards domestic production.
So that stuff is made here that isn't coming from China that you would tax if it was, but it isn't. Great. Okay, I'm with you. It makes total sense.
And taxes foreign companies and those who export American jobs. They will be rewarded, and rewarded greatly.
Sorry. Back up.
And trade policy to move from the Biden system that punishes domestic producers and rewards outsourcers.
I don't know what that means. Okay.
To a system that rewards domestic production and taxes foreign companies and those who export American jobs. They will be rewarded, and rewarded greatly.
He means the people. He means the people he said would be rewarded before he said the people that would be taxed. So he's not going to reward the people who he just was. He's in pronoun hell. He had to add that sentence, but there was no context of what the fuck he was talking about. So he had to wait until he was done with the sentence to say that. And therefore, gibberish.
And our country will benefit.
Will it?
To achieve this goal, we will phase in a system of universal baseline tariffs on most foreign products.
That's right. Yes. Universal baseline tariffs on most foreign products. Okay. First of all, goodbye, Texas. Because as we all know, Texas's primary trade partner is Mexico. That's right. And if there is a universal baseline foreign tariff of what, I don't know what the fucking percentage would be, please say something like 10%, some bullshit. Because if it's anything less than a micro percent, like you're just going to destroy the economy on day one. The EU is salivating at this idea.
Top of this, higher tariffs will increase incrementally depending on how much individual foreign countries devalue their currency.
Because if you don't, then the tariff doesn't mean anything at all. And also China.
They devalue their currency to take advantage of the United States.
Yeah, but also when they do that, that's one of the things that keeps them from becoming a reserve currency. So while we don't want them to do it and it's a pain in the ass, it is almost singularly why China is never going to be, the yuan will be a reserve currency or beat the US dollar as a reserve currency. And why they stabilize it against the US dollar. But excuse me, I interrupted you, stupid.
They subsidize their industries or otherwise engage in trade cheating and abuse. And they do it now like never before. And we had it largely stopped. And
we had it so nobody did it, and we had it stopped, which is why we were entering a recession in February of 2020 and why COVID masked my economic fuck-ups. And we largely, and again, we largely had it stopped. To quote someone who used to work for him, says who? Says who? He couldn't even get a third of his China trade deal done.
Was going to be stopped completely within.
Oh, remember when he tried to raise an aluminum tariff on Canada, to let a Russian invest in aluminum mill in Kentucky, except Canada said, nah, you just won't sell you aluminum anymore? Yes. Well, that was again the idea that I'm an outsider. I'm not from Washington. I've been there like 17 times before I became president. I never stayed the night, and that there's a record of. Okay, don't tell Melania. But at no point did I have to listen to I could choose my own people. I bring the best people, hashtag the best people. And these Washington swamp insiders will not tell me what to do. And then meanwhile, he basically just signed anything they put in front of him.
Less than a year. As tariffs on foreign producers go up, taxes on American producers will go down and go down very substantially. And that means there's a lot of jobs coming in.
How? And beyond the fact that what he's proposing is theoretically and immensely complicated and extraordinarily it's another extraordinary it's like a bull in a china shop. It is a huge shift in domestic and foreign economic policy. It's enormous. And this idea like, we're going to do this and do this if they try this, and then it's going to be clean sailing, and we could do it very quickly, and it would take like a stroke of a pen, and then I'm back to golf.
Not only will this system end our gaping trade deficits, and they are massive right now, and bring back millions of American jobs, it will also bring trillions and trillions of dollars pouring into the United States Treasury from foreign countries and allow us to invest that money in American workers, American families, and American communities.
If they agree to the trade that we're presumably going to engage in, or they'll just, I guess, file anti-fair trade practice lawsuits with the IMF. And
this plan will be the linchpin of a new strategic national manufacturing initiative that builds on my historic success in ending NAFTA, which was a tremendous thing, a tremendous achievement. Nobody thought it could be done.
It was everybody thought NAFTA needed modification. They modified it and they renamed it at the time. Calm the fuck down.
And we did USMCA, US, Mexico, Canada.
US, Mexico, Canada. It was a whole thing.
And it was an incredible thing.
It was, and now it's dead, and it was useless.
But we're also going to end other unfair trade deals, and we'll end them quickly.
Why didn't you do it when you were fucking president then? If you know, for fuck's sake. How quickly? You had 4 goddamn years.
In addition, as a matter of both economic and national security, I will implement a bold series of reforms to completely eliminate dependence on China. In all critical areas. We will revoke China's most favored nation trade status and adopt a 4-year plan to phase out all Chinese imports of essential goods, everything from electronics to steel to pharmaceuticals.
4 years. In 4 years, every company has to move their factory out. And by the way, again, most of this is happening already. Like, Apple, all these guys, they're moving their factories to Taiwan or to Vietnam or Indonesia or India next. Oh my God.
This will include strong protections to ensure China cannot circumvent restrictions by passing goods through conduit countries that don't make a product, but all of a sudden they're selling a lot of product. It comes right through China, right out of China.
They don't make anything. They just like MAGA hats. They come right out of China, and they go right through this Mexican salesperson that trucks them up to Texas, and then they sit there for 24 hours, and then the people blow dust off of them, and then made in America, made in the USA.
And right into our country. We will also adopt new rules to stop U.S. companies.
Oh, by the way, this also has a lot to do with his anger towards Jeff Bezos in the Washington Post, but specifically Amazon, is that drop shipping from China is a huge aspect of the Amazon marketplace. And what he's going to try to do is gut Amazon, to some degree, eBay and Etsy drops shippers who get goods from China and then ship them through to a wholesaler in Canada or some other country and then sell them in the States. And the idea is that so he can kneecap Jeff Bezos.
From pouring investments into China and to stop China from buying up America, allowing all of those investments that clearly serve American interests. We're not going to allow bad things to happen to our country anymore.
Okay, he got lost there for a second. He was supposed to say that make bad things. All right, let's listen to that again.
And right into our country. We will also adopt new rules to stop U.S. companies from pouring investments into China and to stop China from buying up America, allowing all of those investments that clearly serve American interests. We're not going to allow bad things to happen to our country anymore.
Yeah, so apparently China buying up America serves American interests, and he's not going to allow bad things to happen. Whew. Fucking hell.
And we will eliminate federal contracts for any company that outsources to China.
Again, because of Biden's Made in America rules, most of this stuff is already done. And by the way, nothing about what Biden is doing could not have been done, during the Trump administration. Nothing that Biden is doing, including, reshoring chip factories and that kind of stuff to the United States. None of that was out of the question during the Trump administration. Not a thing. Especially with COVID going on. Like, you could argue that, holy fuck, China tried to attack us. Lab leak. So they just decide, fuck it, everybody out. We're putting fuck China in this bullshit. Okay, well, Chinese people fine, CCP bad. Everybody who does business there, new rule. We're in an emergency. Get the fuck out. And if you even ship stuff from China, you're screwed. Move your shit elsewhere. Like, you could have done that. You could have had the most extraordinary shift in the world, just like he could have gotten out of Afghanistan during COVID just by saying, we can't even train people here and our staff can't even leave the embassy. So we're just going to leave, guys. We'll be back. Don't worry. And then they get out before they even know you're gone.
We'll never get the job done. He is weak on China because the corrupt Biden family has received millions and millions of dollars from entities tied to the Chinese Communist Party.
Communist Party. Millions. He's got money and I'm broke as fuck. How is it that this dunderheaded criminal mastermind who can't finish a sentence but can control a spider web of criminality across the entire... How is it?
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I know that, and you know that, and China knows that.
Try and hide it, and the fake news doesn't want to talk about it. Biden's pro-China economic program puts America last, and it's killing our country. My cutting-edge trade agenda will...
His cutting-edge trade agenda. This is modern, kids. There's going to be an app. The Trump Trade app. Get used to it. It's going to be the #1 download on the iPhone store. Well, #2, right after Truth Social.
Revitalize our economy by once again putting America first. And by the way, we'll get along very well with China.
Sure, yes. We're going to start a nonstop trade war with them that means to decimate them as in the only area where they're able to advance themselves, build infrastructure, feed their people. We're going to do a full frontal assault on that, put tariffs on any country that sells to us or to American companies or the federal government using any Chinese goods or anything along the Chinese goods supply line immediately upon taking office, but they're going to love us for it. They're going to be very friendly because they know we're only doing it because we love our people. We love America, and they love China.
And you know what the reason is?
No, I don't. What is it?
They'll respect us again like they...
I see. They'll respect the beating they're getting. They'll respect... yes. We will pee in their face, and they'll go, thanks for the rain, because that's how things work. It won't... There will be no backlash. It will be very uncomplicated. We won't have to do anything at all. Our companies will be forced to move out quickly, and it'll happen in a day, and they'll just shutter their factories and start making super fun, electronic, super complicated stuff automatically in Wisconsin.
They did just 2 years ago.
China, yes, China totally respected us. That's why they gave us COVID and they tried to kill us all. And they owe us. We're going to make them pay trillions of dollars, but they'll respect it like a kid.
We will quickly become a manufacturing powerhouse like the world has never seen before.
Yeah, quickly. I mean, it's not hard. I mean, give him a break. The guy, it's not like the guy's been president before. He's never had a shot at it. You guys give him a shot.
Thank you very much.
Yes. This is his America First platform that takes a sledgehammer to globalism. No, it doesn't. It's a bunch of jibber jabber. And the best part about it, like everything else he bullshits about, is that he had 4 years already. The AUKUS agreement, the CHIPS Act, the America First aspect of the infrastructure bill that Biden put in, that the infrastructure in America will be built with American materials first and foremost, and will only be bought from foreign sources after we've run out of steel and asphalt and concrete and wires and copper and fiber optic, all that shit. After that, if we don't have enough, then we can buy foreign stuff. But until that point, we're buying nothing but we're buying up America's stock. That's it. Yeah. That's not something that was impossible 3 years ago. Remember how Trump used to I got to sign that thing to hold up a people. I'm America first. And he'd hold up his, I made up stinky people. Like a toddler showing you toilet paper after he went poo. He'd show his little EKG handwriting on something and go, yeah, what we did? Okay, cool. Handshake, thanks. Write up something else for me to sign tomorrow. None of it. None of it. None of it. None of the things that the Biden administration is doing that are great, that are stiff-arming Chinese encroachment on the American economy, or strengthening the bond between us and our European partners to stiff-arm them or protect people in the South China Sea or protect Taiwan, any of that stuff. None of that was impossible under when Trump was in office. So it wasn't even... You could argue that parts of it would have been easier at the time, again, because of COVID. Because he could have used it as a spring excuse to trigger all these things. He just didn't give a fuck. Hold on. And this is, I'll think, a good example of it. Hold on. Trump, China.
Really incredible breakthrough. Most people thought this could never happen. Should have happened 25 years ago, by the way, but that's okay.
By the way, he was a fucking mess when all this went down.
A man who also has become a good friend of mine and somebody who's very, very talented and very capable. We're delighted to be joined by Vice Premier Liu He and Ambassador Shui.
I love when he says foreign names. Liu He.
And many other representatives from the People's Republic of China. We are especially proud of the efforts of Vice President Mike Pence, who is with us. And Mike, I'd like to have you say a few words, please.
Say something about what the fuck is in this thing, and so I can sign it. I don't even know. Does anybody... Okay, and then, so he does this, says the normal part, and then, here you go.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for making sense about it, Mike. Now I got to go up here and look like an asshole.
Thank you, Mike. An incredible job.
Great job. Excellent. I'd like to take a moment to say COVID is bullshit and is going to go away in seconds.
Incredible guy.
Who has a lovely wife, Carrot.
I also want to give special thanks to our U.S. Trade Representative, who's been kept very busy He's doing a lot of deals. We'll have another big one next week.
No, you won't.
It should get approved very shortly, and that'll be tremendous with Canada and Mexico. But we'll talk about that next week. But Robert Lighthizer, are we keeping you busy?
By the way, Lighthizer is the moving force between anything good that came during the Trump administration. Lighthizer is the only person who understands this. And he's a continuation. He served in I want to say the Bush. Hold on. Yeah, Lighthizer. There he is. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, he was the deputy trade representative under Ronald Reagan. And then let's see, graduating lines, 18th trade thing, policy views, tariffs, okay, blah blah blah. He had his 83, 78, served in a senior position in 88 campaign. Yeah, so he was on Bob Dole's presidential campaign as his. He was the treasurer, and then let's see, 85 he joined Skadden Arps, Slate, Mager, and Flom as a partner. And he practiced international trade at Skadden for over 30 years. That's where he representing American workers and businesses ranging from manufacturing to financial services, agriculture, and technology. While at Skadden, Lighthizer worked to expand markets to U.S. exports and defended U.S. industries from unfair trading practices. So he's been around for a long time. Everybody in Washington knows him. Here, hold on. Here's a picture. There's a little picture of him right there. That's him meeting Reagan. Lighthizer's been effectively is the only functional hire that Trump got. And by the way, everybody else knew it.
Huh? Poor guy can't sleep. He tosses and turns. What happened to him?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
That was dropped. And
Oh, okay.
I'm all
Thanks. Mike, that's right. You are all purpose, come to think. But Bob Lighthizer is really an outstanding guy. Gets along with people. He's smart.
Did he just call him Mike?
Right, you are all purpose, come to think. Thanks. Mike, that's right. You are all purpose, come to think.
Yep, he called him Mike 3 times and then called him Bob again because it's in the screens in the back.
But Bob Lighthizer is really an outstanding guy. Gets along with people. He's smart. He's sharp, and he understands trade better than anybody. When I first took this, I said I got to get the best guy, and all signs pointed to Robert Lighthizer.
Yeah, he was. They told him who to get. Again, this all signs pointed to Robert Lighthizer. Whatever. It's so lame.
So thank you very much, Bob. Thank you very much.
Everybody said pick you, so I made the tough decision and picked you. That's so Trump has this big thing where he's like, this is the most respected guy. Everybody says he's perfect, so I went out on a limb and recommended him. So he didn't notice there's never been a point where Trump said, this guy, everybody said it would be a fucking mistake. And I took a chance on this guy and it paid off because my belief in him outweighed everybody else. He did a great job when everybody else said he would stink up the joint. Never, ever. Everybody either warned him off someone and he took them anyways because somebody told him that he had to pick that person, and they turned out to be shit, and he blamed everybody who was like, what the fuck are you hiring that guy for? Namely Bolton. And then the rest of them were people like, yeah, I mean, yeah, if you can get him, that'd be awesome. And then he's like, I went on a huge hunt through the offices going, who does everyone recommend unanimously so that they can do a job I have no interest in, and I can claim credit for finding a diamond in the rough. It's like American Idol, but I want nothing, but I want, if I could have American Idol where all the contestants are Celine Dion, Dolly Parton, every great, whoever's great, get a list of great singers. This is the signing of the the phase one China deal. Here you go. And he goes and he reads this thing and.
Will you say thank you, Mr. President, at least? Huh? I made a lot of bankers look very good, but you're doing a great job. Say hello to Jamie. I think we're seeing him tomorrow.
Jamie Dimon is who he's talking about.
Nancy
I don't know.
Falotoco of
All right. At a certain point, then he sits down and they go over there and they talk about this, and then they talk about the thing, and then they have their trade reps talk about it, and everybody goes over there, and then they go and they sit down, and then this happened.
And the rights of the Chinese people to pursue a better life is what should be there. There is great potential for greater China-US cooperation, and the defining feature of this economic cooperation between our two countries is mutual benefit. People of both countries benefit from such cooperation. These facts haven't and will not change. The China-US relationship is now at a crucial juncture.
By the way, I think this is the point where this dude kind of dunked on Trump a little bit and was kind of a dick. And then ultimately, again, they never lived up to even the first phase.
As we have reached a phase one trade agreement, it is now important that we leverage the opportunity, earnestly implement the strategic consensus reached between our two presidents, and keep our bilateral relations in the right direction. We need to strengthen strategic communication and dialogue on various levels to build trust, reduce misgivings, misunderstandings, and misjudgment, and properly manage differences so as to build a China-US relationship based on coordination, cooperation, and stability. To conclude,
by the way, COVID was stam-fucking-peating towards the entire world right at this moment. And Trump was downplaying all this stuff and screaming at Mike Pompeo around these days, saying, don't fuck up my trade deal by clamoring on about how COVID came from China.
Dude, I want to take this opportunity to thank you again, friends from all the communities in the United States, for your support to the healthy growth of China-US relations. Let's work together in the new year. Thank you.
Well, just in closing, and we're going to sign right now, but it just doesn't get any bigger than this. Not only...
No, I did this. This is the greatest ever. So good. What's the date on this? It says 3 years ago, but I want to see what the... What's the... show it. Okay. Yeah.
In terms of a deal, but really in terms of what it represents. Keeping these two giant and powerful nations together in harmony is so important for the world, not only
it is, it's so important
for us, for the whole world. And
it worked out that way. Yeah, January 15, 2020. Yeah.
The world is watching today, so it's a great honor to be involved. It's a great honor, Mr. Vice Premier, to be with you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And thanks for that $15 million. And come here, let me give us a kiss. Let's go over and sign this, since neither one of us are going to live up to either side of it. I am. I'm going to sell you basically all the beef, pork, corn, and soybeans we can get rid of, and then you're going to...
History here, the epic and very historic phase...
Epic and historic.
One China trade deal.
Oh, yes, it would turn out to be epic and historic.
At the White House.
Come up here and stand up here. Stand up here. Stand up, banker people. Banker people, come up and stand next to me.
That President Trump wants.
So that if I ever get in trouble, there's a picture of you guys standing behind me while I did this.
Some of the business CEOs that came.
Uh-huh. You business guys all have to stand there. He's aged a lot since then, by the way. Anyways, so yeah, there. Look at this. Blech. Thank you. So just a reminder that all during that time and continually going forward, because he still had two more phases they had to go through, and they never lived up to phase one ever. They bought $10 billion worth of food that they desperately needed. There's no way China could not have bought at least that amount, because they literally need it. They import the majority of their food. So the vast majority, 80 some odd %. So yeah. The idea that he's somehow going to reinvent U.S.-China relations, where China gets excluded or stiff-armed now versus the way things are going is just goofy. It's just silly. It's just it is an absurdity. But you know, he can put this up there to, I guess, perpetuate the myth that Biden is owned by China. I'm going to fight China for real, not this stuff. Now, I've still got some time left. By the way, tomorrow, guys, I'm singing at the Jam. I'm hosting the Jam tomorrow night at the Whiskey. It is the tribute to Sammy Hagar. We're going to be doing Sammy Hagar music, and I'm very excited about that. I will be singing some really high notes tomorrow. I'm doing Dreams, Best of Both Worlds, and Right Now. Go listen to those songs, and I would like you to, as best you can, sit in judgment of me while when I post the audio from those things. I want you to go, all right, let's see if you can do it. Come on, bring it, kid. Bring it. Let's hear those notes. We do 5150 live with Nerd Halen, but a couple of the Nerd Halen guys will be performing with me. Caleb and of course Sean, our sometimes bass player who's filling in. Our drummer, I think he's playing one of them, two of them. I don't know. Anyways, hopefully most. Victor's out of town. He's touring. He's got a giant tour because he's super famous. Victor, our bass player, works more than anybody. He's the bass player for Engelbert Humperdinck. I'm not kidding. So yeah. Anyways, tomorrow night I will be doing those. So sound check happens right when I do a show. So tomorrow there will be no show. I'm sorry. In the very near future, as I'm continuing to host these things, what I'm going to do is preload an hour-long show and let it air during the time we would normally have the show, if that's cool with people. And if not, I think that will work. Just for those times. So every couple of weeks, it'll be a Tuesday like that. And I will be, yes, I stream the sound check. I will be putting my phone up. I'm bringing my stand with me, and I'm going to live stream the sound check just so you guys can hear what's going on, if that's cool. So yeah, that'll be a good time. And then of course, they're going to start giving me copies of all my songs that I'm going to post to Patreon. So anyways, I will miss you guys tomorrow, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Philip will be joining us.